So nice to see everyone. Thanks for coming out. And we're going to do something that many of you know that we do when we open, when I start teaching, which is called opening circle. So I'm going to say a phrase and you can say it after me. The sun is a circle.
The sun is a circle.
The moon is a circle.
The moon is a circle.
The earth is a circle.
The earth is a circle.
The drum is a circle.
The drum is a circle.
We are a circle within a circle.
We are a circle within a circle.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to do something I've never really done before. I haven't taught this particular subject in this particular way. One of the things that we're doing in this series is we're looking at the different paramitas, and I'm not going to tell you which one we're looking at yet. And I'm going to ask you to watch 2 videos, and then I'm going to give the lecture, and then we're going to watch the videos again, and then you're going to pick out the activity of the paramita that we are doing. Okay? So without further ado, Sarana. Okay, here you go. It's up here.
Missouri, an Indian hill station in the days of British rule, has a new monastery modeled on one in Lhasa, Tibet. To open it came that country's exiled ruler, the Dalai Lama. India's Deputy Minister for External Affairs, Mrs. Menon, accompanied him. He's been a refugee in India since the Chinese completely conquered Tibet 5 years ago. Now he saw some of the Tibetan boys who will be trained at the new monastery to be Buddhist priests and keep alive the spirit of Tibet while they are in exile. After the simple opening ceremony, the Dalai Lama inspected the monastery. The deities of north, south, east and west are represented in murals. The Tibetans paid homage to Buddha by draping his image with scarves in the traditional way. The Chinese conquest may in the long run add another chapter to the lesson of history, that invaders may steal a country but can't destroy its religion. Old Tibetan dances were performed in the Dalai Lama's honor. The young lamas were told by their spiritual leader that by growing up in the faith and zealously practicing Buddhism, they would ensure the triumph of truth over evil and pave the way for the Tibetan exiles to return to their native land.
Foothills, a place on India's northeast frontier and a local means of transport on its way to market. A special market day, held to celebrate the expected arrival of the Dalai Lama, was attended by tribal people and others who'd come from Sikkim and Bhutan to add their welcome. Altogether quite a gathering for the great occasion. The road on which the living Buddha was to end his amazing journey led through thick jungle. It was in fact the only track, but the Dalai Lama and his escort must have appreciated it after the long mountain trek. A white scarf, in keeping with Tibetan custom, was presented by the Indian government's envoy at this simple but very dramatic meeting. Smiling and perfectly composed, the young God King showed no signs of his ordeal, though he'd just completed perhaps the most exhausting journey in the world. Meanwhile, accommodation of the meanest kind had been providing a temporary lodging for the former Tibetan Prime Minister, Mr. Lukangwa, waiting at Tezpur to receive his spiritual leader. A special platform, rather like a bandstand, was surrounded by a pretty large crowd at Tezpur to witness the official ceremonies. The Dalai Lama's statement made here stressed that he had left Tibet voluntarily, not under duress.
Okay. Anybody have any guesses as to which paramita we're looking at?
Determination,
Joyful effort. Joyful, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Virya. Sorry. Virya. Yeah, Virya. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, determination's pretty good too, but we're looking at joyous effort. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about joyous effort, and then we're going to watch it again, and then you're going to tell me all the places where you see its effect or its influence. So joyous effort is, it represents a tireless, enthusiastic energy dedicated to cultivating virtue and to helping others. And it is an antidote to laziness and discouragement, which is one of the reasons I wanted to really talk about this now. Not for laziness, but for discouragement. No. I know you're all a bunch of lazy old, sitting here on 24th Street doing nothing for the Dharma. I know that, yeah. No, but there's so much discouragement. It's really, really important to remember joyous effort. And it's important to remember that joyous effort is driven by compassion, not by obligation, not by fear. It's moving towards something, toward a compassionate engagement, and bringing vigor to that compassionate engagement. Some other words for it might be vitality, energy, endurance, diligence, continuous effort. I'm remembering, I have to tell a story. Sorry, I'm interrupting myself here. I often speak about the monks of the Garden Chartse who lived in my house for a better part of a year. We had 8 monks in our living room. And as part of Thupten Jinpa, His Holiness's English language interpreter, asked us if we would host a cultural exchange with the monks from his house in the Garden Chartse Monastery, because they had lost their dormitory, and from a series of, which is a whole interesting story, but I won't go into it. So they were like basically, 80 monks were couch surfing, trying to, didn't have a home. So they came here to make san mandalas, do blessings, give empowerments, do teachings. And we set up a tour that went all around the whole country. But they wound up staying here in the Bay Area they were actually in our living room, probably a total of 3 months or 4 months. But anyway, that's a long story to tell you the story that I wanted to tell you, which is, I remember we have a center over in Berkeley, and it's right on the corner of, Berkeley Street, So, and it because it has a face, it has a long, we're on the corner, and it has a long side where there's no houses. So it's just the garden and the side of the church. It's in an old Lutheran church, so you just have the side of the church. So people often dump things there. We come there and there's all these things dumped. So we got there with the monks to do a set of empowerments, and someone had dumped probably, 100 pounds of cardboard. They just dumped it. There was all this cardboard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And the monks got out, they tied up their things, and they all just set to work, breaking it down, tying. We got some string, breaking it down, setting it up, breaking it down, setting it up, tying it up, and within 45 minutes, all of the cardboard was neatly placed and put into cars, and we were able to take it to the recycling. It was amazing. And I was like, oh no, we've got the empowerment, and oh no, da, da, da. And they were like, no problem. And they were just vigorous, joyful effort, not one complaint, nothing. It was just we're just going to take care of this and do it. And I was like, wow. So that's a story for you. And it's, the thing about Virya is that it's, a joyous effort is that it really helps you maintain the practice of the other paramitas, right? Like when you're flagging, you can always come back, you're feeling like, oh, no, I don't feel like being generous today, maybe, or, maybe I can, skip my ethical conduct today, or, I don't have to be that patient, like, all the things that you might, I know you would never think those things, but just in case you did, you can return to joyous effort to kind of put you back on the track. And there's something about joyous effort, which I think is, personally, I think is very much demonstrated here in these, I shouldn't, because I want you to find it. Never mind, I'm gonna say, let me just offer you some aspects. So courage, courage is a real aspect of virya, of joyous effort. Because you have to have the stamina to confront the massive task of helping all sentient beings, right? And folding up 100 pounds of cardboard, it's like same thing, right? And it's there's also this aspect to it where there's this, there's no like self-satisfaction, like you don't stop, you're not self-satisfied, you always keep going, it's like there's you're this constant drive toward improvement, but not in a compulsive kind of way, but in a way of like, oh, there's another stage that I can move through, there's another stage that I can move through. And the other aspect to it is that it's persistent and unwavering, and it is always dedicated toward wholeness and circumstances that produce wholeness. So when you're working with joyous effort, it's really helpful to always remember the original intention that what we are doing, practicing the Paramitas, is seeking freedom and liberation for all beings. And so we always, in order to gain energy in our effort, we remember that intention to help us with our enthusiasm, and also, so you maintain your aspiration, you're aspiring to your intention. And then also steadfastness is another aspect of it. It's that following through on difficult tasks. No matter how difficult the task, we're going to follow through and take care of it. And then joy is another aspect of this, of obviously joyous effort. And the way that you fuel that part of it is you look for small things, like beautiful things and find things to be grateful for, and just constantly look for that kind of refueling in your everyday experience. And also, it's important to rest, like it's important to be able to truly rest, trust your intention, trust that that you are going to attain this aspiration of liberation for yourself and all beings, and know that you can deeply, deeply rest, so you have the wherewithal to keep going. So let's go ahead and look at those two videos again and see. I'm going to ask people, where do you see it? Like, where are you seeing it most exemplified, or particularly exemplified? Where are you seeing joyous effort at work?
Foothills, a place on India's northeast frontier and a local means of transport on its way to market. A special market day, held to celebrate the expected arrival of the Dalai Lama, was attended by tribal people and others who'd come from Sikkim and Bhutan to add their welcome. Altogether quite a gathering for the great occasion. The road on which the living Buddha was to end his amazing journey led through thick jungle. It was in fact the only track, but the Dalai Lama and his escort must have appreciated it after the long mountain trek. A white scarf, in keeping with Tibetan custom, was presented by the Indian government's envoy at this simple but very dramatic meeting. Smiling and perfectly composed, the young god king showed no signs of his ordeal, though he'd just completed perhaps the most exhausting journey in the world. Meanwhile, accommodation of the meanest kind had been providing a temporary lodging for the former Tibetan Prime Minister, Mr. Lukangwa, waiting at Tezpur to receive his spiritual leader. special platform, rather like a bandstand, was surrounded by a pretty large crowd at Tezpur to witness the official ceremonies. The Dalai Lama's statement made here stressed that he had left Tibet voluntarily, not under duress.
Rather.
Missouri, an Indian hill station in the days of British rule, has a new monastery modeled on one in Lhasa, Tibet. To open it came that country's exile ruler, the Dalai Lama. India's Deputy Minister for External Affairs, Mrs. Menon, accompanied him. He's been a refugee in India since the Chinese completely conquered Tibet 5 years ago. Now he saw some of the Tibetan boys who will be trained at the new monastery to be Buddhist priests and keep alive the spirit of Tibet while they are in exile. After the simple opening ceremony, the Dalai Lama inspected the monastery. The deities of north, south, east and west are represented in murals. The Tibetans paid homage to Buddha by draping his image with scarves in the traditional way. The Chinese conquest may in the long run add another chapter to the lesson of history, that invaders may steal a country but can't destroy its religion. Old Tibetan dances were performed in the Dalai Lama's honor. The young lamas were told by their spiritual leader that by growing up in the faith and zealously practicing Buddhism, they would ensure the triumph of truth over evil and pave the way for the Tibetan exiles to return to their native land.
Okay. So anyone have any place where they particularly see joyous effort at work?
Even just that last scene, there.
Do you want the?
You know, that in that last scene, just, you know, the Dalai Lama is in exile, had this arduous journey. All the people there are like out, not in their homeland. It's quite a solemn and difficult situation to be in. And he's just like, this is what we're doing. And everyone's like, here we are. We're going to keep doing the thing, you know, and keep moving forward and do it with joy. And I mean, it almost seems celebratory, the dancing and all of that, you know, in a situation that could be quite, distressing.
Right, right. Thank you.
We use the microphone so the folks online.
Hi. I saw it a number of places, and if I hadn't been looking for it, I wouldn't have noticed. So that was very cool, like almost all of it.
Right.
But the easiest parts to remember are the end and the beginning, when, and in particular, what stood out was all of the people who came from so far away, you know, so happily and willingly to be there in that celebration.
Thank you.
The joyous piece was very live for me in the young aspiring monks lining the way as the Dalai Lama walked down. And I don't know what that exchange was with the first one, but because the hand was like this, and I grew up in this country, I heard like there was a scolding or a lesson, and it didn't feel like that in his voice, but like that's what this hand said to me. And there was just joy in the children, and then there were other children with flowers. Felt the joy and reverence of that. And then feeling in more to Virya and receiving the videos in the order that we got them the second time, I felt the joyous effort of the fact that a monastery had been created. Like, talk about joyous effort. I really felt that in the second time through.
I was also thinking about the part where they said he made this long mountainous journey and then must have been psyched that there was a road through the jungle. And then the next shot of him is smiling, like he's getting ready, I guess, to talk to, and then he makes it clear, or the British newscaster says that he said that I came here voluntarily.
Right?
right? That he's making, I mean, which historically we could question, but the point of that is that like he wasn't harboring resentment. He wasn't like, you know, throwing out seeds of resentment. I came here voluntarily. It wasn't like I was forced to come here by the Chinese, which is a very different tenor to offer. So I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, the optimism, and like that we will return, that we, you know, like the optimism, you can see that that's like a really important aspect of joyous effort is you don't lose, you return to your aspiration, you return to your intention, you don't lose connection with that.
I don't know if this is joyous effort or not, but it felt like he had such a sense of like duty and responsibility. He was not there to have other people take care of him. He was there to take care of everyone else. And it was like very clear that despite all he went through, he really held the community, which was incredible given what the journey he'd been on.
Yeah. Oh, he was, let's see, in 59, I think he was like early 20s. Yeah. He was born in 34, right? 34, yeah. I think he's born in 34. Anyone online have anything to say? Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, and you can see like the whole enterprise of maintaining Tibetan Buddhism. You know, the commentator said it at the end, you know, this is, the Chinese are going to find out they can steal a country, but they can't kill a religion, right? I mean, they've done a pretty good job in Tibet, you know, stomping things out, but this whole rebirth of all of the monasteries in the Tibetan settlement, you know, where Gatan Shartse Monastery is and Karnataka in the southern part of India. It's like they have totally recreated all of the monasteries, and everything has continued in that way, and the education of the young people, of the monks, and you know, we're engaged with several projects of helping. Right now, many of you, I don't know if any of you were here for Geshe Pima Dorje, when we support him as he's building a nunnery for young girls in northern India, and we help raise money for that. And I'm also, I don't know if you've ever come to any of the lectures of Thupten Tenzin, Khensur Rinpoche Thupten Tenzin, who is Jinpa's first student. And he was the abbot of the Gyuoto Monastery for 6 years, vice abbot and then abbot. It's like the main tantric monastery, highest level of education in Tibetan Buddhism. And you know, he comes from Spiti in the north. It's like, they call it Little Tibet. It's this beautiful, wild place. And so now we're helping him. They have a small monastery there, but the young monks wanted to be able to come to Karnataka, to the south, to be able to continue their education. So we're helping him raise money to build a dormitory for them, you know. So like all of this activity I mean, we're just a small little piece of it, but all of this activity is continuously going on, you know, like of reestablishing, revivifying, you know, this big emphasis on the young people, and bringing and keeping the young people engaged in the Buddhist line of thought is so important. I have one monk that from the tour that we every morning and every night we send each other. He doesn't speak English, I don't speak Tibetan, and Google Translate doesn't really work, you know, on WhatsApp. So we always send each other images of things. You know, he sends me every morning. He sends me a picture of the Dalai Lama, or I'll send him today I sent him a picture of this beautiful rhododendron that I found. You know, so and he sent a picture. I don't know if I can find it easily. Oh, I should have looked that up. I didn't know I was going to say that, but he sent a picture of all of the young monks that he's in charge of. and there's this like how you were saying, the dedication, like his holiness is not looking to be taken care of, he's looking to take care of. And that is the essential aspect of joyous effort, where you're looking, how can I help, what can I do, how can I engage, and I think you said it, like every aspect, every moment of both of those videos is about joyous effort, it's all a description of joyous effort and a preservation of the Dharma through joyous effort. So there's one other old video that I couldn't find. I had it marked, but I still couldn't find it. It may not be there anymore, where it's the talk that he gives up on that dais. And it's the most inspiring. Remember who you are. Remember your heart. That you are Tibetans, and that this is a special thing, and it's something that you must never forget. And these are all people that are like completely traumatized, coming from the cold to the hottest heat with all the bugs, and all the people who had died on the tour, on the trek. It's amazing, it was so inspiring. Remember who you are, Yeah, so important. So, so joyous effort. So let's do a meditation on that. Yeah, good, okay. Oh, that, okay. Okay, so funny. I'm just getting ready to go back to teach with Robert Thurman at Menla. And every time I lately, because I've been talking to him a lot, what he does when it's time to meditate, he goes, okay, get in meditation mode. Ding. So get in meditation mode. Ding. No, I'm gonna walk you in a little bit more nicely. So funny. He's so funny. Yeah. Okay. All right. So just allowing yourself to get settled, noticing all the places where the surface under you meets the different parts of your body. And as you do, just allowing yourself to become aware of where your breath is. Watching your breath as you breathe in, and watching your breath as you breathe out. And just allowing yourself to begin to notice the way in which your breath is almost like a bridge between your outer world and your inner world. And just allowing yourself with each breath as you breathe in to move a bit more closely into your inner world, into that place where everything that you've ever known or felt or sensed or dreamed or imagined is recorded. And as you come into this place, just becoming aware of a situation or a circumstance where you've been trying to accomplish something important to you. It's a place where you are trying to accomplish something that's important to you, but where you might feel a bit discouraged or feel like you don't have the energy to make it through to accomplish this thing that you want to accomplish. And just allowing yourself to know that it's totally safe to let yourself know where you're feeling this discouragement. Then there's nothing wrong with you because you might feel discouraged. And as you let yourself open to this place where you might feel a little discouraged, this might be, a situation that might be a spiritual goal that you've been trying to meet, or it might be, some business that you've been trying to build, whatever it is. You're just feeling a little discouraged. Let this part become more known to you. And ask the question, what do you need in this place in order to re-engage your efforts to overcome any difficulty? Do you need more courage or stamina? Do you need to become more aware of your intention in setting out this project, returning to the intention? Or do you need to have a sense of being clear on your motivation and returning to that deep compassion that is at the heart of your practice? Do you need to redouble your efforts to find determination and steadfastness? Do you need to redouble your efforts in finding joy in small things to help fuel your progress? Or do you just need a deep rest in order to gather your strength here? Just let yourself sit with this part that might feel discouraged or a bit hopeless, and ask it what it needs. And ask how you can develop any of the qualities that are needed here more fully. And just allowing yourself to determine to redouble your efforts, find your inspiration again, to find your courage again, to return to your capacity for steadfastness, whatever is needed. And I'll offer you some words from Robert Thurman to inspire you here. It is our duty and our obligation to cultivate hope. We can free our imagination from being stuck in the expectation of failure. We can free any enemy from expecting that he or she cannot become a friend. We can follow the Dalai Lama and never give up. We live in hope as a realistic way to live. We live, therefore, without bitterness, joyfully and happily, while opposing violence and injustice. It is our duty to strive to live so happily, so that even if someone kills us, we will die happy. Just to understand that this is something that you can cultivate and bring to this place within you that might be feeling discouraged. Then when you're ready, just coming back to your breath. Watching your breath move in, watching your breath move out. Just resting in your breath. Taking a deep, deep rest. And just allowing yourself to dedicate all of your effort and joy in the fact that you can effort to yourself, to your aspirations for good in the world. And allow that dedication to be a source of joy and energy for you. To be a balm in this place that feels or has felt discouraged. And just coming back into the room whenever you're ready. Following your breath as you breathe out. Feeling the surface under you again. And maybe stretching a bit whenever you're ready, just opening your eyes. Anyone have any thoughts? Okay.
I got unmuted. Oh, the host unmuted me. I don't know. Am I answering?
Yeah,
Okay,
you're good. Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so um, I picked my career, which is something I'm trying to work on and build. And I I have a lot of um, I have a lot of trauma around that. I have ADHD or whatever, and I was in a very punitive school, and I dropped out, and then I was unhoused, and I was in college for a long time, and in like community college. So there's a lot of shame around that, and a lot of like fear of failure. So, and something I noticed recently with myself, that I do a lot is I do fantasize a lot about that and about like who I want to be in my career or whatever. And I spend a lot of time doing that in a way that's very escapist from like to me just accepting where I'm at and who I am right now. And so when I went to like ask about it, I got a lot of it was difficult to get answer that was kind or that wasn't like frantic or that wasn't like and this is something that I know I really enjoy doing, but in terms of like making it be like uh consistent and like a viable thing, it's it's hard. And yeah, um so I'm just trying to like how do I work with that when the part of me that I'm asking to like follow this, it just like seems to not give me answers that are actually um helpful or kind or whatever.
Well, I think what you're running into as you're trying to get to the place of moving beyond discouragement is you're getting to the source of the discouragement, which is a pattern inside of you where whenever you're feeling shame, so this is something to remember, whenever you feel shame, there's blame. So the part of you that's feeling ashamed has got another part that's blaming it for something. And you said you have a fear of failure. And you wouldn't have a fear of failure if there wasn't a part of you that was being unkind to you about not doing good enough or something like that. So what you're running into in terms of what's keeping you from being, what you're running into is the dynamics of your discouragement, which is an internal process of unkindness. And I'm not being judgmental at all. I mean, it's important to look at this without any judgment, and just to understand that you do need to, again, that coming to peace process that I was describing before, like let yourself feel the part that is ashamed, and then find the part of you that's shaming you, and have a conversation between them. And again, I really recommend my book, Coming to Peace, to help you understand more about the dynamics of peacemaking. But I also really recommend, we do have, I train people in depth hypnosis, which is a process of clearing karmic patterns, getting to the bottom of, getting to the roots of, presenting symptoms and transforming them. And I have people that I've trained that, there's a lot of practitioners at depthhypnosispractitioners.com. If you need someone who's charging less than the usual kinds of rates, we do have people that are doing free, that many practitioners have free or low fee slots. So I really recommend getting some help with this, because it's hard like you were saying, you were having trouble seeing anything beyond the jumble of the unkindness, and then the feeling bad, and the unkindness. So that is something that can definitely, it's just an internal dynamic that has taken root, and it can be transformed. And I think I just want to also say, you said that you're not being realistic with your imagination, imagining your success. I think that it's important to remember that when you're honest with yourself about where you are, and you dedicate yourself to helping yourself transform that which is difficult for you, that you then work with your imagination in a more constructive way, which is, okay, this is where I am, but I can see, I have optimism that I can be different, that things can be different, that I can, I can, from the place where I am now, I can move into a realistic way of manifesting what I desire, and to harness your imagination in a more constructive way. There's a class on, I did a series of small classes on the sacredstream.org website. One is called Harnessing, they're all called Harnessing the Power of Your Mind. And they're not expensive classes at all. And you might want to take a look at those, and that'll give you pointers on how to work with your imagination in a constructive way. So it's not taking you away from your goals, but helping you establish your goals from the place where you are. So there's some thoughts.
Cool. Yeah, those are all good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
I want to share something. I don't know if it's relevant, but it's something about hope. Like the quote you said, if I tune into it, it's like really opens me up. And yesterday we were in the Sun Circle, the Emily Dickinson's song, like hope is a feather that perches in the soul. Like at one point I just like, if I really tune in the hope and be with that frequency, there's something there that opens me, that kind of like unblocks the energy, which
Right, yeah.
like in my body.
That hope is, people often think, that's so great that you're saying that, because people often think, oh, hope, oh, you're just hoping that it's going to happen, But actually, hope requires a lot of effort, and you can, and when you let yourself hold that hope, it does it also provides a lot of energy, right? And it's like I think it's wonderful that you're saying that. And hope is a big part. I mean, you hear with the Dalai Lama, in the two videos, that he, it was all about hope. None of that would have he would not have arrived in India. The monastery would not have been built, if there had not been some kind of hope or some kind of vision, right? Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah.
There's also wonderful literature, wonderful scientific research evidence that hope is therapeutic.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I'm going to read Bob's quote again, just because, it was not completely relevant to the meditation, but it was relevant enough. But I just want to read it again as we're here together. Therefore, it is our duty and obligation to cultivate hope. We can free our imaginations from being stuck in the expectation of failure. We can free any enemy from expecting that he or she cannot become a friend. We can follow the Dalai Lama and never give up. We live in hope as the realistic way to live. We live, therefore, without bitterness, joyfully and happily, while opposing violence and injustice. It is our duty to strive to live so happily that even if someone kills us, we will die happy. It's like, this is Bob. Yeah. Sometimes Bob is just like the most erudite person that ever walked the earth, I can't believe I get to teach with him. It's like, I'm really there to learn from him. But but he gets going. He can really get going. So anyway, I think that's a wonderful quote. Any other thoughts or comments? Yeah.
Something that came up for me during the meditation, I had like a difficult situation at work with my boss, and this feeling of like what I needed was protection. Like, how do I move past this feeling of like fear and like protecting myself to like hope or safety or security or something even like more compelling to like actually move through and transform the energy of working with someone? Like, how do you move from a place of being like on the defensive to like offensive?
So what are you afraid of?
Like, I suppose like job security, just like being reprimanded, or I don't know, this person is like creating a very like hostile work environment. And so there's a lot of like fear of like being watched or being analyzed or, like being let go or whatever it may be related to my career.
What I would really recommend doing is looking at other options for work. I mean, yeah, I mean, and you need to ask yourself, you need to ask yourself how you got into this situation. I mean, is the toxics, is this any kind of a repeating pattern? Have you been in this kind of dynamic before?
Interestingly, very early in my career, but I was able to transform that relationship. And then there was a good amount of time I didn't experience it. But the mindset I went into this role was very similar of like, oh, I can change this person, or this person will like me. Or
Yeah, forget that. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that it's really important, because if you have any idea about how you think you could make things different, or you want things to be different, that they're going to, it's clear this person's dedicated to negativity, right? Yeah. So they will see you as an adversary if you are trying to bring a different vibratory tone. You're going to be seen as an enemy. So, in my book, Coming to Peace, I talk about, you can't make peace with people who are dedicated to war. Right, and so if that's the dynamic, if you're staying with it, I mean, if you're in a situation where you feel like you need protection, you need to be out of that situation. Yeah, right, so I would really look at what's calling you into it, if what's hooking you into it is the desire to change this person or to create a different outcome or to make things better, like let go of that and then see if you still want to be there, like that. Yeah, I would. But also, one of the things that happens, you see this a lot in family systems, you think that the person, and sometimes it is true when you're a child, it is true that the person who's being mean is the only it's the only game in town, so you have to kind of accommodate it. It's really important to get to the place where this is not the only job in the world. This is not the only boss in the world. This is not, there are multiple possibilities, but it's really easy to get narrow like that and think, oh, I can't find anything else. There'll never be anything else. Just let yourself open. Mhm. Any other thoughts? Well, I really appreciate this opportunity to be with you all this evening and to talk to you. And, actually, the idea for this class came a lot from Noam. He said that his favorite part of my teaching is when I answer questions. So there's something about a question that makes me more intelligent somehow. I don't know. I don't know. It's like I'm trying to help someone. Suddenly, I have an idea. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to offer assistance and help on the path. And I think that we have so much help on the path with the Paramitas. And I mean, if we can, the Paramitas really are the nature of the enlightened mind. So if we can cultivate each of the Paramitas, we are cultivating the enlightened mind. It's like kind of a back door in. And so hopefully this has been inspiring for you in terms to reinvigorate your practice, and we will continue. I'll be back soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but it's like
It's not until September.
is it September? Oh,
Really not very soon. He's in Berkeley.
Yeah, I've got doing lots of teaching over there. Lots of teaching online, lots of teaching on demand. Don't worry.
I just wanted to comment because this is what I thought throughout this session is you're an incredibly skillful listener, and that is probably why you're such a great responder. Is it doesn't seem like you're at all trying to think of what to say next. You're just listening. So I just wanted to express appreciation for that because I think it goes hand in hand with what you just shared about. So
Oh, thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I am really interested in people, So, yeah. And I think, we're all, I love that phrase of Ram Dass's, we're all walking each other home, I just love that, So anyway, it's wonderful to share this time with you, and we will continue. Let's go ahead and close circle for the evening. And I just want to thank everyone, Mace, everyone, Sarana, everyone who does all that you do, Gladys, all you guys. You do so much to keep this place going. And Noam and Stephen, and it is an inspiration, that so much is done on a volunteer basis here, and so much good is done in a place where good is needed. So I just want to thank the San Francisco Dharma Collective. Thank you. All hail the collective. Let's go ahead and close circle for now. The sun is a circle. The moon is a circle. The earth is a circle. The drum is a circle. We are a circle within a circle. Just imagine all the paramitas around us. Generosity, patience, joyous effort. Just allow yourself to find them all around you. We are a circle within their circle. I like to think of the Paramitas as like these great beings, like patience. Yeah. Discipline. Yeah. Discipline is so key, Not that kind of discipline, Discipline. Yeah. So, anyway. Thank you, everyone. May all beings be free.